Welcome back. Okay, so these are challenging times indeed as we try to avoid the spread of COVID-19. Some places of employment have completely shut down, others reducing their hours. Some are asking people to work from home where possible. But what are your rights? If you're being asked to stay at home, do you still get paid? What if you're an employer rather? What do you need to do to ensure you are dealing with your staff fairly and in a proper way? Howard Levitt is an employment and labor law, and joining me now to talk about all of this. Howard, so I think the number one question is what we heard in that intro. Am I still going to get paid? You are.
You are.
So let's break that down, what your legal rights become. So let's just say someone feels ill. They stay at home. They let their employer know. They should still expect that paycheck then, yes?
Absolutely. Now, if they're sick, well, let me put it this way. If they're sick, they follow the employer's sick pay plan. But what if the employer just says, stay home because I think there's a risk? Or maybe you've just come back from Italy or the States. They have to pay you. Now, the employer may have a sick pay plan that doesn't pay you,
right.
But if they tell you to stay home proactively, they have to pay you.
If they say that to you.
Yes.
And I know a lot of people are nervous and they say, well, I want to still come in because what if I lose my job? Could I lose my job?
You cannot lose your job if you're asked to stay home or if you're sick. Now, the interesting thing is if the employer does not tell you to stay home, the employer gets sued if other people get sick because the employer wasn't proactive.
Okay, so let's talk about it on the other end for employers, especially a lot of small businesses who are scrambling that don't necessarily have that corporate plan in place when it comes to HR.
Everybody's scrambling right now, even the big companies.
Absolutely. But what should everyone know? Let's say employer, from the employer standpoint.
They should be saying to employees, if you've been in contact with someone who's potentially infected, who has come back from another country, or if you yourself have been to another country, including the United States, you stay home for 2 weeks and you will be paid.
They should say that flat out. Right
out. And the same holds for customers, for members of the public. You should be protecting your employees from people coming into the workplace. At my office, we're asking people, do you have any symptoms before they come in to see any of us?
Yes. And we should say in studio here, you're joining us in studio, but we also talk to, recent travel history, symptoms and whatnot for any guests to come in studio. So that is something that we are doing as a corporation here as well.
And you should be.
Yes, 100% is screening guests. So we appreciate you coming in and knowing that you are good to do that. But I think, for a lot of people, they might say, I don't have the tools to work from home. So is it up to an employer to provide X, Y, and Z to ensure they can do their job properly?
Well, that's assuming the employer wants them to work from home. Now, it's only a 14-day period. So they have to pay them for those 14 days, after which point they should come back to work, unless the employer wishes to permit them to work from home. And a lot of industries like yours, like mine, like service, like manufacturing, like auto mechanics, you can't effectively work from home. Not effectively anyway.
Right. Let's hope this doesn't happen, but do you assume some people might manipulate the system and say, I don't want to come home, I don't want to come to work even though I feel okay, but they can't fight me on it? Do you see that? Do you foresee that happening?
Well, I absolutely foresee it happening because it happens on a regular basis, even during a regular year without a COVID virus. People are going to claim they're sick when they're not. The question is, right now the Ford government's passing legislation prohibiting employers from asking for sick pay notes. Will there be some abuse? Sure there will be. But remember, employers, unless they've been out of the country or been in contact with someone, they have a right to have them to come to work. Employees can't say, I feel generically unsafe, and therefore I'm staying home. They can ask the employer, do you have these policies in place, and refuse to come to work if they don't.
Yes.
But short of that, they have to come to work.
Okay, so always good to ask these questions, see what's in place with your employer. Best way to get some information, Howard, is where? Where would you direct people?
Public Health, Center for Disease Control, or your nearby employment lawyer.
Okay, Howard, appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Stay safe, stay healthy.
You too.
We are taking a break here. It is 6:25, and we're going to the skies.